Yeah, for sure. Smaller, but, yeah, more of a boutique city, if you...
Yeah. It's a big city, though.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Got some questions for you. What made you decide to use a violin as, it sounds like, as a guitar in this new lineup?
Well, just the fact that, we had an opportunity to have another deal and all that stuff was already amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, me and the violin player, we've been friends forever.
Yeah.
And he's actually a professor for U of L.
Yeah.
You would never, ever think it, because he's like the craziest guy in the band. But we always did some stuff together, and I always wanted to include the violin in rock, but not as a supplemental instrument, more as like an instrument that we could see like how we could fuck with it to make it, most people use violins as like, like things for ballads and stuff.
Yeah.
What I was trying to do is like, let's plug this thing into a Marshall and see what we can do.
Yeah.
And when I got this deal and the whole band kind of left, I kind of got an opportunity to reconstruct it the way that I ultimately would want to do it,
Right.
So, I started messing with it, and it ended up really sounding really cool. And he's like super creative, super knowledgeable dude. So it was really cool to work with somebody that has been in a classical career for 15 years.
Yeah.
To come in and be able to give his 2 pennies or whatever, 2 cents or whatever to what we're doing. So it was cool. It was like a lot of years of experimenting, little drinking,
yeah,
whatever. We tried a lot of stuff. Let me just tell you, we were running that shit through television amps and stuff just to see, what we could do.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, and on Down and Out, the first single, the violin, that's the single that the violin is used more in its, indigenous sense, But on the rest of the record, the violin is really used sometimes where it's, taking the back seat to it, but or taking, we were just trying to see how we could create something that we could use the violin in a way that has never been used in rock.
Okay.
So,
go ahead. And you think you've obviously succeeded with that throughout the whole this new album pretty well?
I really think that I have succeeded in it, and partly was because I have a great violin player,
right,
and a great musicians behind it, and also having the benefit of having Toby Wright produce it. He was a guy that I know he wasn't going to let it sound, wimpy,
Yeah.
So. And he's a really creative guy, super creative. He did mostly all of my favorite records. So, he was in there, and he's like that guy, he's like, let's try to mic the violin through the air shafts, and so basically we spent a lot of time just trying to mess with what we could do with it. And, do you have the whole record by any chance?
No, I haven't, no. I think I do, maybe. Yeah, but, yeah, I've heard the 2 tracks off of the MySpace page, so, I've heard that.
Well, one day when you get a chance, if you get to listen to it, you'll see things that you think are guitar, but they're really actually violin.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if you're for me, something I'm a big Sabbath fan. I think Heaven and Hell is one of their better, obviously, tracks. But when I heard you guys, you hear that violin. It sort of reminds me somewhat of a Heaven and Hell. I don't know if you can see the connection there, but
no, absolutely. Here's the thing: you have this beautiful instrument
that's
always associated with beauty, and you're using it in a darker way,
Right.
So it's kind of a contradiction of itself. But the thing is that ultimately, it's really cool the way that it ended up coming out, And honestly, when I first started coming up with a concept, you know, we were just messing with it, you know, I didn't really know how it was going to work, you know.
Yeah.
But I definitely knew that I wanted to add a different aspect to this record.
Okay.
I knew that I was like the only guy in the band, and blah blah.
Right.
I wanted to kind of take a step sideways and forward at the same time. So
right.
I mean, you know, I'm really proud of the record. I think it sounds awesome. And when you listen to it, you know, you kind of you'll see how it's used in a way that like a band like Yellow Card doesn't use it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That was going to bring me to my next question. Obviously, when you guys were going through the lineup changes years ago, and then you had somewhat an album done, and then you decided at that point to redo, like basically scrap it and then redo this newer album. I mean, was that a hard decision for you personally to go through?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. What happened is that we recorded the third record.
Yeah.
We were still under Maverick Records. And, you know, we knew that, you know, just the whole industry was, you know, a little shaky.
Yep.
And basically a week before the single was going to get released, you know, they called me, you know, ironically on my birthday and told me, you know, the label is no longer, you know, and I was like, you know, we were like a week away from getting publishing checks and all that shit. So it was pretty, you know, devastating to it.
For sure.
And not too far after that, the management company that we had, you know, dropped us because, you know, this industry is very based on, you know, I love your music, but how many records can you sell me type of shit.
Yeah.
So they dropped us. So, you know, we found ourselves without a label, without a management group, without anything. And, you know, I think the other guys ultimately got discouraged.
Right.
They're just like, you know, screw this shit, you know, we've done the Days of New stuff, we've done this, I'm just done with it, you know.
Yeah.
Because you really have to love what you're doing to do
right.
this, you know. But to me, I was the only guy, I didn't have kids or a family or anything, so the only thing that I really had was this thing. So, you know, I just decided to, you know, keep it alive.
Right.
But the reason why we didn't use the third record was because, you know, when that record went away with that label, due to the label folding and, you know, whatever happened with all that shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, they wanted us, you know, if we were going to use the record and reshop it to another label, they wanted to charge us like $250,000 for the record.
Oh.
I was like, no, I'm not going to pay $250,000. And then I knew that the other guys weren't in the band, and they wrote a lot of the songs on the